Here we go. Top 10 passers this season for the 2005-2006 season. At number 10, we have Ben Roethlisberger throwing for 3,561 yards. The Steelers only went 8-9 in this campaign, but they're still a solid team, winning the Super Bowl the year before. Roethlisberger is still a top-tier quarterback for them. I know this season he had 35 touchdowns, 27 interceptions, and that's a high number, but a lot of interceptions were thrown by everybody. One thing I'm going to be working on next year, trying to make that number a little less. But that's also the adjustment from going from Madden 20 to Madden 2022. So we'll see how that fares in the future. But yes, Big Ben here rounds up the top 10 at number 10 with a solid performance and likely going to be a dominant force moving forward. The Bengals won the division, but the Steelers were tied for second at 8-9. They had that tiebreaker over the Ravens at 8-9. And of course, Cleveland was a few games behind. Moving in at number 9, we see Drew Brees at number 9. He played for two teams this year, the San Diego Chargers as well as the San Francisco 49ers, just going to a different city in California. Brees has had trouble winning games, but he still maintains that top 10 performance, that top 10 passer. He had 32 touchdowns and 30 interceptions this year. So a few more interceptions than Big Ben, but a couple of touchdowns fewer. Next, we have number 8, Alex Smith, throwing for 3,587 yards in his rookie year. He threw for 33 touchdowns and 19 interceptions. That still sounds like a high number, but compared to the other quarterbacks in the league, it was a fair amount. Alex Smith put on a Rookie of the Year performance for the AFC, and we can see that apparent this season. One of the rare good picks from the Jets, and so Alex Smith comes in as a solid future for New York Jets so long as he stays healthy. At number 7 is the old man himself, Rich Gannon, with 3,595 yards. He had 27 touchdowns and 27 interceptions. We will see how this translates into the playoffs as he leads the number 2 team in the NFC in this postseason, just behind the dynamic New York Giants. And so we can see there Rich Gannon having a solid year despite being incredibly old. We'll see if he decides to return for another year. I suspect he might, despite the fact he is really old. But here we go, really turning Chicago around, giving them that stable veteran quarterback with that solid defense. So we'll see how they fare in the postseason. Speaking of NFC powerhouses, Matt Schaab comes in at number 6 with 3,688 yards. Now, the impressive stat here is he had 44 touchdowns. 44 touchdowns and 25 interceptions. Matt Schaab really had a huge boost this year, especially with the addition of Terrell Owens. I mean, he is a cheat code. He is a Madden receiver on steroids, and it didn't surprise me that he had so many touchdowns. And again, he comes in that top 10 at number 6, leading the number 1 team in the NFC, likely Super Bowl bound, especially with that championship defense. And as you can see some of these highlights here, just spot on. Matt Schaab coming through as a very solid quarterback in that solid QB class 2 years ago. And as a surprise, coming in at number 5, A.J. Feely with 3,704 yards. This one is a huge surprise, right? I don't think anybody really predicted A.J. Feely of all quarterbacks would come in the top 5, let alone the top 10. And so here we go. We have 33 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. He was able to fend off Jason Campbell for the starting job. His past relationship with Brad Childress makes for a great combination. He has great receiving options like Larry Fitzgerald, Kelly Washington. Brian Finneran, and Algae Crumpler. And so AJ impressing here, being a top 5 passer in the 2005-2006 season. Coming in at number 4 is Tom Brady, throwing 3,902 yards with the New England Patriots. Again, a powerhouse team there, powerhouse quarterback. He threw 44 touchdowns and 25 interceptions this year. Obviously, a top-tier quarterback. Keep leading his team to the playoffs. We'll see how far they go this postseason as they're trying to get that second Super Bowl win. Unlike in real life, he would have had already 3 Super Bowl wins by now. He's still trying to find his second Super Bowl in this reality. Number 3 is Brett Favre with 3,967 yards passing. He had 39 touchdowns and only 19 interceptions, leading the Packers back to the postseason in a very challenging division. We have the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers, and the Lions had a 7-10 season, which is not good, but it's not bad, as they weren't a bottom feeder team. They have a lot of potential there, but Favre showing off his gunslinger arm, being that dynamic quarterback that we know he is. Donald Driver, Javon Walker, Ferguson, who was also at number 89 there, has been a huge boost for their passing game. They are going to need some help with their tight ends. I mean, Bo Schaaf and Byron Chamberlain were not as helpful. Both of them were like 59 overall, 60 overall at most, and maybe with a morale boost. But again, Favre still able to get it done. Number 2, we have Dante Culpepper with 4,224 yards. The Vikings are a team on steroids. It's just disappointment that they haven't made it to the Super Bowl, but they do have a chance to go further in the playoffs this year. We see Vincent Jackson, Randy Moss, Dallas Clark, Ronnie Brown, the rookie, all these great options for their offense, and Dante Culpepper took advantage of that. Dante Culpepper throwing 48 touchdown passes and 19 interceptions. This was a great performance by him this year, and he does win the MVP again 3 times in 4 years. So I guess in real life he had injuries that barred his career, but in this reality he did not have those injuries, and we see him utilizing his full potential at the maximum, where he is the only other MVP was Michael Strahan, who had like 40-some sacks that year. And so he had a defensive MVP. But Culpepper winning the MVP again with the big chunk of yards there, 4,224. And number 1 should come as no surprise, but Peyton Manning with 4,764 yards. He led the league in touchdown passes with 52, setting an NFL record there, and 24 interceptions. Manning having a stellar performance with receivers like Reggie Wayne, Rodney Harrison. Then the surprise young stud Wes Welker being a leading receiver this year. Bubba Franks as a tight end who came over from Green Bay. He still has Edgar and James, the running back. And so Manning was able to lead a powerhouse team here into the playoffs, and we'll see how far they go. We'll see if they can be Super Bowl bound. And to wrap up, as you can see, these were the top 10 passers the past 4 years. We can see right there that Manning has been in the top 3 the past 4 years. Brady has been in the top 10 the past 4 years. We see some people starting to fade out, like Bledsoe not making the top 10, or Trent Green struggling a little bit. Patrick Ramsey, who was prominent in that 2003-2004 season. Also, Brett Favre made the top 10 in every year. Drew Brees kind of slipping a little bit. I know the year before, Brees did not have that great of a year, but he was a 3rd-ranked passer in 2003. Now he's back in the top 10. We'll see if he can carry that into the future. But some fun stats there, some fun updates. We'll have more top 10s coming in a bit.